Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. 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 Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Tonight on prime time, we will be... What? Oh, shit. Tonight on the Late Late Toy Show, we'll be... You what? Oh, shit. Are we rolling? We're rolling? Tonight on the Frontline, we'll be discussing a major issue that has come to the forefront of the restaurant and alcohol industry. We will be discussing obesity and that we, as Irish, drink way too feckin' much. Lovely. What? I think I like it this way. I like it. Oh, tonight we'll be talking to industry... Where are you, Thompson? Oh, tonight we'll be talking to industry experts. We'll be talking to doctors and also a minister who I can't believe he's got the audacity to tell us that we're too obese and... What? I'm not allowed to say that. Okay, we'll be talking to industry experts, doctors and a minister on the topic of calories on menus and we drink way too much as a nation. Yeah, I definitely like it that way. Now, if I just concentrate enough, this could be... Oh, sorry. So, let me introduce you to the first member of our panel, the Minister for Health of Ireland. Let's go have a look at him. Thank you very much, Mr. Kenny. That's a fantastic introduction. Dr. O'Reilly is my name, the Minister for Health. As we have already discussed, we've identified a major problem in this country, and it's that we drink too much and we feckin' eat way too much as well. So, well, like a typical government party, we'll identify the problem and then we must come up with the craziest solution to get everybody else to do the work for us so we can sit back in our arses and do feck all. So, with that in mind, what we are planning on doing is that all restaurants must include calories on all the dishes they create in the menu. So, you know, because we're all obviously obese, because we're all eating in restaurants 7 nights a week, as you know, and lunch 7 days a week. So, we must put the calories, because that's obviously the only reason why we're all as fat as feck in this country. So, thanks very much, Pat. Lovely introduction. Thank you very much, Minister O'Reilly. Before we talk to our panel for only 3 minutes of the entire show, let's go into the audience and talk to one of the Minister's best friends, a doctor, because the fact that we're a state broadcast channel, all we can really talk about is to the government and to his friends. Just the two kind of groups that will agree with each other. We can't really talk to anyone else who has an opinion and actually might... What? I'm not allowed to say that? Okay, Grant. Let's just head on into the audience and talk to one of the Minister's friends, Dr. somebody or other. Who gives a shit?
Well, thank you very much, Pat, for that lovely introduction. I'm a doctor, and the reason why we are all alcoholics is, well, we really do drink too much as a nation, and in Europe we're the highest drinkers by far. One of the major problems is like when real role models of this country, not Jedward, people like Porter Carrington or Darren Clark or great sporting heroes, if they win a major tournament, they drink alcohol from the cup that they've received, and like that's just a big no-no. I mean, there's 2-year-olds sitting at home seeing this, and I mean, what kind of example is that to give? I mean, I don't know. I mean, another major reason as to why we're all alcoholics is like major drink companies sponsoring big sporting events like the Heineken Cup. So what I'm proposing to actually clean up the nation from all these alcoholics is we'll call it the H Cup. Yes, that's right. We're going to ask these drink companies to give us millions in sponsorship, but we can't have their name anywhere and no one's allowed to drink their product. So we just call it the H Cup. No advertising, no drinking of their products, and of course these companies will still want to do this. I mean, it's as simple as that, Pat, that we're all alcoholics because we're drinking out of cups, basically. Thank you very much, Pat, and I actually don't really have a clue what I'm talking about, but thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Doctor. As you can see, as this debate is going on and on and on, we've got some fantastic people making brilliant points. I'm Mike Murphy, and I'm Pat Kenny, and we might just go back to the Minister just to see exactly what he has to say after his best friend, the Doctor, has agreed 100% what the Minister has to say, and nobody else is allowed to come in and interrupt and argue with any of the points either of these two people have made. So we might just go back to the Minister for 1 second. Thank you very much. Thanks very much for that, Pat. I couldn't agree more with my friend who couldn't agree more with me. And thanks very much for taking up most of the show talking to two fellas so that nobody else can contradict any of the points we have to make. Oh, what's that? Oh, a chill. I'll be back to you in a sec, Pat. Sorry, Pat. Basically, as you can tell, and this is a very serious subject, what we are trying to say here today is that obesity, due to the amount of drink that fellas have and the fact that there's no calories on any of the restaurants, well, there's fellas out there that are growing, I think the word for them is moobs. I think they call them man boobs. And this is, lads, is a serious issue. And as the Minister for Health, lads, we need to put an end to that. And the reason why we're all fat as feck is because there's no calories written down on any of the menus that we walk into restaurants. And that's all we're trying to do, and all we're trying to do is to get everyone else to do the job for us so that we can sit back and have a few more pints back in Leinster House and a few more chips. But it's the moves, Pat, just so we know, it's the moves. Fellas walking around with their boobs hanging out, shockingly obese. So, there we've heard on the afternoon show all night tonight. We've heard from the Minister, and we've heard from his doctor friend, and they've taken up pretty much all of the show because that's what we had to do for a state broadcasted channel, was that we can't really have too much time for somebody to talk any bit of reason. But for the last 2 minutes of the show, we're going to go to Killarney restaurateur Paul Treyvaud of Treyvaud's restaurant, just to see what him and some of his friends in the industry might think of exactly what it means to be putting calories on every single dish on the menu. So over to you, Paul. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Pat, and thanks very much to the invite onto Frontline tonight. First and foremost, what I want to say is that whilst the government might have correctly identified a growing epidemic, i.e. obesity and alcohol issues here in the country, the way that they've gone around it is exactly like a typical government body has always done. They've tried to come up with the most ridiculous way of implementing it by getting other people to do it for them. So the simple fact of the matter is what they are saying, to put calories onto every single dish in restaurants, simply is impossible. Full stop. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is that they didn't even speak to anybody in the industry before they decided to come out and try and implement this ridiculous idea that they're trying to do. And I want to make it perfectly clear, I'm speaking purely on behalf of the thousands of fantastic restaurants throughout this country that do use top quality food, fantastic ingredients, local produce. I'm not talking about or here to defend fast food operations or any of that kind of stuff. I'm here to defend the restaurants that this is completely impossible, unfeasible to implement in. Okay, that's all we're here to talk about today, is the restaurant side of things, because the government want to make this a blanket calorie count on all menus, and in our particular part of the sector, it's impossible. Like restaurants like us, we don't have, let alone the time or the facilities to be able to, if we change our menus every single day, we ring our seafood supplier, we turn around and we say, we get in 2 sea bass or 3 sea bass or whatever. The seafood supplier turns around and says, no sea bass lads, only monkfish for today. So what are we supposed to do? All of a sudden try and go get send-off specimens to get calorie counts? When we're putting sauce on the plate, do you think we measure every single amount of sauce to the exact milliliter on every single dish? No, we don't, of course we don't. Do you think we weigh every single amount of portion of veg, potatoes, salad, fries? Of course we don't. Good restaurants get in full strip loins of beef, and we cut the steaks ourselves to 10, 10.5, 12 ounce. Sometimes the steak's got a little bit more fat on it, because guess what? All animals, they're all different. I know, it's incredible. But the government would like us to think that food comes from polystyrene packs in supermarkets. But it doesn't. That's why what they're asking, or what they're going to try and tell us to do, is completely impossible to implement. Bananas, bonkers, going to cost an absolute fortune. But we must be very, very clear. The problem is obesity growing at a massive level. So we can't just come out with a problem and not give a solution. So the solution is simple. It's education. It's not trying to implement daft ideas such as this horseshit that the government have come up with about putting calories on menus. Let's just park that aside, because we all know that won't work and it's impossible. So we fix it through education. It's simple. We look for the real role models in this country. Ex-sports people, rugby players, GAA players. We get them to go around to schools telling the kids at a very young age the importance of eating correctly, of eating healthy food. That's where it all starts, not through this calorie nonsense that they're talking about, okay? And if the FSAI are so concerned about this, well then what they should do, is, seeing as they have all the resources, is they put on their website what a typical 10-ounce steak is calorie-wise, what a typical peppercorn sauce is of about, say, 150 mils is, what a typical piece of salmon contains, what a particular, or a piece of fruit and veg or whatever. They can put all that on the website, and every single restaurateur in the country will put down on the bottom of their menu to say, if interest in finding out how many calories are in this dish, please check out this website here to give you a rough idea as to what's in it. Because a restaurant will be open to all cases of libel if all of a sudden we turn around and say that that particular dish has 450 calories, and all of a sudden we've got a little bit of extra sauce or a few extra potatoes or a bit of extra veg, and all of a sudden it's 500 or 600 calories in it. Okay, so it's impossible to do what you're asking us to do. It is, let me stress, impossible for the government to make us do what they are trying to tell us to do. So, there we have it. We have a passionate man talking about something that he's clearly very passionate about. Calories going onto menus, though it might help some people, will do absolutely nothing to solve the growing epidemic that is obesity. The only thing it is going to solve is the government that are trying to implement it to make it look as if they're actually tackling a particular problem. But actually what they're really doing, according to Mr. Treyvaud, is just creating a cloud around a particular problem and causing an absolute shitstorm for everybody that's supposed to implement it. Calories on menus? Impossible, according to Treyvaud and a lot of his colleagues in the trade. Let's go back and give the final word to the Minister, who has caused this entire hype of utter nonsense. Minister, we'll give you the last word. Over to the Minister. Well, feck you anyway, Kenny. I thought we agreed we wouldn't have anyone on this show that would talk any sense. Jesus Christ, didn't we agree that the Irish people don't stand up, they don't argue, and they don't give out about things that are going on in the country? I thought that's right, Jesus. Well, feck you, Kenny. I've a pain in me right move after that. Bringing on some fella in here that made sense for once. Jesus Christ, you've ruined everything. You've ruined absolute. Feck you, Kenny. I'll never be on the Late Late Show again. Never, never, I tell you. Kenny, I'm coming back. Jesus, we had a plan. We were going to get the Irish to talk in French accents. We were going to get them to talk in German accents because we want to be European. Jesus Christ, all we wanted to do was to be European. We kissed the ass of everyone in Brussels. We kissed the ass of everyone in Germany. Jesus, we wanted the Irish to be European. And you fecked that up for next week. Oh, for God's sake. You over that. Jesus, that's the end of your show for next week.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.